And way out west from the left coast, it's our good friend James Hirsen. So, Stephen Colbert, I don't know if now he becomes Stephen Colbert, goes back to South Carolinian. He sheds the political persona and the character to become the comic and the host of CBS late night show, replacing David Letterman. So, how does he make the transition?
Well, it's really up in the air. As a matter of fact, the CBS executives have said they don't really know how this show is going to play. They do say that he's going to try to strive for a wider appeal, and he has to in that broadcast chair that he's taking of David Letterman's. Look who he's competing with. Jimmy Fallon, who's tearing it up in the ratings, and Jimmy Kimmel, who's got another big chunk of the pie. So the question is, who is the real Stephen Colbert? We haven't seen him on that show. He's been basically portraying a character, and he's been very talented at it, much to the expense of everyone right of center. So it's a question. I mean, if he goes on there and brings the sensibilities that he's had on Comedy Central, I can predict he will flop, because Heartland America is not going to relate to him, and he needs a much broader audience. And if the real Stephen Colbert is not somebody with those Midwestern values that Johnny Carson had, that David Letterman had, that Jimmy Fallon has, somewhat Jimmy Kimmel, and he's not really good at this new dimension of late night, which makes things go viral, it's going to be bad news for CBS.
No pressure at all. So how much leeway?
Super.
Yeah, right. How much leeway do you think CBS will give him?
Oh, I think they'll give him a lot of leeway, because there's some executives whose necks are on the line. And look, basically, we have to acknowledge the people that form the fan base for Stephen Colbert are liberals, and the entertainment community is liberal. So they have this myopic view, and and his talent is unquestioned. He's a very talented guy, but he's really more of a scripted person, and he's been great at portraying this character that he says is inspired by a very famous Fox late night host, primetime host. But the question is, no one really has seen what actually because he's never really been on TV as himself. And so he may be a dud, he may be great. It's a big question mark. It's a risky choice.
We have about a minute left in this segment. Jim, you mentioned Midwestern values. That's going to be tough for a native South Carolinian. However, he is a devout Catholic. One night with John McCain on, he goes back and quotes scripture about the wedding at Cana to McCain. Is that going to be, for lack of a better term, the mainstream hook, or is that dangerous in terms of our secular society?
Well, the fact that he understands, he came from a devout Catholic family, he's a Sunday school teacher, he stayed married to the same woman, he seems to live a conservative lifestyle. He went to Northwestern, that's located in the Midwest. Maybe he has a deeper understanding for people outside of the liberal bubble of entertainment than we think, than maybe somebody like Jon Stewart does. So it remains to be seen. But it was a much riskier choice, really, than so many others that were in line for this position. Craig Ferguson, who it was in his contract to get this job. A bunch of other people were talked about, including females, people of color, all of the various candidates. But somebody there was a huge fan of Colbert, and lo and behold, that's going to be what America watches. I sure hope he doesn't bring, though, the Comedy Central sensibilities to that chair.
Well, I guess we'll have to watch and find out. James Hirsen, thanks for your time. America's Forum coming right back.